And earlier, James welcomed you to the governor's mansion. As I like to refer to it, I want to welcome you to the people's house and people's mansion. So I kind of feel that that's very important because this house belongs to everyone in Missouri, and we're very pleased to have you here today. Last summer, I started on my journey as the First Lady of the state of Missouri, and alongside a gentleman that we've been together now for 33 plus years. During that time that I have found him to be a very caring husband, a loving father and grandfather to our children, and somebody that loves this state more than many people do today. I wish that you would help me in welcoming my husband, that I'm very proud of, and your 57th governor of the state of Missouri, Mike Parson.
Thank you very much for being here today. And for Teresa, thank you for the introduction. And I can't tell you how proud I am for her, the job she's doing as First Lady for the state of Missouri, and how open she's been to the mansion and to will of the people to see him come in here and be a host. And does a great job representing the people of this state every day. And I'm just so proud of her for doing that. She thought she retired, but that really didn't work out too well. I can tell you that. There's some other people I want to introduce real quick. And I want to ask them to come up here. Steele, Kelly, I know you guys back there saying, Stephanie, stay right here, out here taking pictures. But I want my staff to come in and back here. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. When we took this transition on back in June, we walked into a governor's office with no legal team, no communications team. Matter of fact, almost every desk in the governor's office was empty. And Friday, the time I got sworn in, I had to be ready to go on Monday, what we think is a normal day of work, but the reality of it was we started Friday, so we had to be working on Saturday and Sunday. All these people come in with me from day one have been here, and they have did an excellent job on the press side of things, really being transparent for all of you, trying to do the right thing every day, and I'm really proud of them for what they do. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. I was surprised you guys were coming to the mansion today and was going to give you an opportunity to speak without being able to ask any questions. I was surprised. I really appreciate that. Maybe I didn't get that right in the script here a little bit. Needless to say, when you kind of go back to the first part of becoming governor, of what that was like and how it all developed, most of you know we wrote different articles about me and Teresa over that time period. But every day that we've been here, that I went in the governor, one of the great things about it is, you know, even with the way it come in the transition period, I got to go in there really with no promises to anything other than just do a good job. And so every day when I go with the Capitol Governor's Office, every day I try to go in there and really try to focus on what I think are the right things that Missourians want, what is the right thing to do for all parts of the state, which is a tremendous balancing act of trying to figure out how you meet with everybody and all the different people and the different cultures we have out there. But that's what I do every day. You know, I don't worry too much about the next elections. I don't worry about anything. I'm just day to day trying to do a good job. And really putting the people of Missouri to know that as the governor's office, whether it's Mike Parson, whether whoever's in there, it's the governor's office of the state of Missouri. And that's really what's important, to pass that heritage down from generation to generation of how we conduct ourselves as governor. So my job is maybe kind of what Carol said earlier on. She says, and she's been very kind over the years, she said, I'm not going to agree with you on everything. But she says, you're doing a pretty good job. So if anybody says I'm doing a pretty good job, I am with that. And Carol also, you know, everybody here, I just ask you to keep your thoughts, prayers in mind about Carol and people that go through that. I appreciate you, Carol, and the way you conducted yourself. We should all be very proud of the way you said it. There's another gentleman that's normally here, Christopher Alvey, I think from the St. Louis Post Dispatch, and I think his wife was in an accident, and he's not here today, so you might want to keep that in mind and everything, things going on. Hopefully, we've set an example from the governor's office for all of you here today to try to be transparent as we can with everything we're doing in the governor's office. I have stayed focused basically on the issues in hand. I said from day one I want to stay focused on infrastructure and workforce development. And I know there's a lot of other things going on in the state, a lot of other pieces. And I know you guys are going to have some questions here before long that you're going to ask about different things. But those two pieces, I do believe, is really the future of Missouri. And those are non-political issues. Those are things that we just really got to address and figure out solutions for. I mean, wherever you go in the state of Missouri, no matter whether it's rural, urban, middle of the state, wherever it might be, that is a huge problem for everyone, is to make sure we're getting the workers available for that workforce. And that means it really takes the time for the private sector and our education communities, which I think has come, that are wanting to work together to try to figure out how do we make sure people are trained and qualified for the workforce of tomorrow. And that's just really important to me. I think yesterday, day before, I went into a hearing room, and I didn't think it would be quite that big a news until I just walked in the hearing room, but they were here in fast track. It was a piece of legislation, so I went in there. I want to make sure they knew, hey, I support this. This is part of the legislation package I put forward. And, you know, I'm going to be active in that. I'm going to be in the hallways. I'm going to be talking to senators and representatives and try to give that pitch of how to move the state forward. But more important, about building relationships. And whether it's your industry or what I do, you've got to build relationships every day. Because there's going to be times when you're going to agree on things, you're going to disagree, but tomorrow it might change and you're going to be agreeing on everything. So I hope for most of you here today, you understand how important those pieces are for me as far as workforce development infrastructure. The other thing I want to bring to you, you've heard me talk about infrastructure. And I'll talk about the bonding bill a little bit here while everybody's here today, because there's been some out there, you know, does somebody get this or somebody get that, or somebody gets an uneven proportion of the way the bonding bill works. The bonding bill, how that originated was we were trying to figure out, the vote in November, people decided, hey, we don't want to pay taxes for the fuel in that arena. So, okay, people of Missouri somewhat spoke at that. So we said, okay, but I think that burden also comes back on us. It's not a thing that you can just sit around and say, okay, we're not going to do nothing. We got to figure out a solution within the means we have. So that's what I really did. So that's why I come up with the bonding package. But I kind of want to walk through that. This may be a little too much in the weeds for you, but I think it's important that all of you know that, because you're going to tell the story. You're going to tell the story to the readers. And it's important that I make sure I get my points across, and then how you write the story, how I write the story. But the point of the meeting is the reason we did the $30 million bonding for $30 million a year for 15 years, that equates to $350 million. The first thing I did is took those numbers and I looked at 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, and tried to say, okay, what is it I feel like I can get through the legislative process? What is it I think we could do? And if we went down the bonding trail, how could I do that? So we decided, okay, we're going to decide on this number. So then we brought MoDOT in and says, okay, if I have $350 million, what is the best thing I could do? One, because we're going to be bonding that amount, which you put the taxpayers on the line for 15 years. So what is the best thing to do with that? What would it be? And the first thing, you know, it didn't take very long at all just to come to the conclusion, it was bridges. One, because bridges have a lifespan of 50 to 75 years. Then the question becomes, how many bridges can you do for $350 million, and how do you do it? So really what we did is we went in there and said, okay, and this was an arbitrary number, $8 million. We decided, okay, if we did $8 million, how many bridges could we do? 250. At that point, we had never seen a map to know where those bridges were. We really didn't. We just said, put this on the table, because we thought it would do. So if you take those 350 million, those 250 bridges, and we took them off the STIP plan, and everybody kind of knows how the STIP plan works. It's a 5 years program that's done by regional planning groups all across the state. The important thing to note about that, the reason those planning groups are set up the way they are, is so we can't pick and choose what projects we want to put out there. That has to be done on the local levels, and the local levels have the input on what those projects are. So we took that $350 million and took it out of the STIP plan, okay? So at that point, these bridges that I'm talking about with less than $8 million has no federal dollars attached to them. That's all state money. That's all GR money that we're going to pay for, or MoDOT money. We can't draw any federal money down with it. That freed up the $350 million on the STIP, the 5-year plan for all the other projects to accelerate, to now move up. And a lot of them will have federal funding they can draw down. The other thing it did, for people that had other projects, you can now add another $350 million on the bottom of it to add new projects. So in that 5-year period of time, when you put all the together, it's about $1 billion worth of construction over the state of Missouri. And that's what was important to how to do that. Plus, we still got to address the issue. Does it fix the infrastructure problem in the state of Missouri? It does not. I would be the first to be out there and tell anybody that. Is it something we can do for now that really has a long-term effect? Yes, it can. Do I think we can get that through the legislative process? Me and Rudy were discussing that a little while ago. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to make sure that that gets through the process, to realize that the state of Missouri is doing something. If you look at other states that are successful, that are around us, they're the ones that have done bold changes, have did things against the grain sometimes between normal thinking like, do the same old, because if you do the same old in government, you get the same old result. So I think doing things like this, you know, actually says a story for Missouri to say, you know what, if we really are doing something about infrastructure, if we really are doing something about workforce and people can see it, feel it, I think people in out of state and people around the state are going to say, hey, what about taking a look at Missouri for new businesses? How do we promote this? How do the people within the state decide, hey, I want to do more? That's the whole philosophy behind why I'm doing what I'm doing on those two issues. And like I said, there'll be a lot more issues. The other thing I think was reported in the state that I mentioned was the reorg that's going on with economic development, for example. You know, and what we're trying to do is I realize that I can't take every department in the short time I've been there, or even a long term, and try to overhaul the whole bureaucracy. You know, I've been around long enough. It's very difficult to do that. But what you can do is you can take each agency at a time, So we truly took a look at economic development because it really went with workforce development. So said, how do we break that better? You know, and I'll give credit to Rob Dixon. You know, I mean, he's did a fantastic job, and it's not easy when you have to come up and tell your boss that we're not very good at what we're doing. That's not something you really expect for cabinet members and everything always come up to you and say that. The truth is, that's what he said. But he also had a plan how to fix it. So that was important. The Department of Corrections, making the moves that we made then, I think was the right thing to do for the state of Missouri, and I think it's the right thing to do for the future. And I think we need to set the example that we have to look at alternative sentencing for people that are incarcerated or even becoming incarcerated. We got to do all the resources we can before we put them incarcerated. Now, for any of you that all of a sudden that wants to say that, you know, well, Mike Parson's soft on crime, don't write that down because I didn't say that. What I'm saying is I believe there are people out there that should be punished and should be incarcerated, but I also think there's better avenues in the way we've been doing things year after year. And I think especially when it comes to nonviolent crime, that we got to look at that. And we're making strides towards that. And that's why we were able to shut down a full penitentiary. But more important, even shutting that down, was the idea that we're trying to make things safe in prison. You know, for the guards, for the people that are incarcerated. Those are the kind of things we do. The next two big issues that are coming up for us next year, the two that we're going to be looking at, Medicaid will be one of those areas we're going to look at, try to see how we reform that, and probably on the mental health side. Those are the two. But we're going to do a piece at a time, as much as I can, to try to move Missouri forward and make us more efficient on that. So I think those are some of the things that I just want to share with you today. Most of you know this, you wrote about it, and I get it. But I think at the end of the day, you as the press corps, you know, and I get sometimes your job is to go out there and show the difference, to show maybe why I'm not right with some of my thoughts or why you think I'm not right. But it's also an opportunity, I think, for the press corps to get the message out to the people of the state, you know, on what that opportunity is for everybody. And I think that's one of the things we want to work with you to try to figure out how to do that. That's important to us, and that's why the team I have knows that very well. And believe me, I know you're not going to agree with me of everything, and times are going to come that we don't. But for the most part, I guarantee you, some of these things are good for Missouri, you will, because they affect your communities in a positive way. And that's the things we should be talking about. You know, the gridlock in Washington, D.C., it's unfortunate that our country's got the point there where it's like nobody wants to talk to each other, nobody wants to come up with solutions, you know. And those are the things I think are important that you do as elected officials. I've said it time and time again, forget about governor, forget about sergeant, or forget about being sheriff. You should be a public servant. You should find a way to sit down at the table and figure out solutions. That's what the people in Missouri want. I can tell you. I've traveled this state probably as much as anybody has in my first 6, 7 months. But people are wanting the government to move forward. They don't want gridlock. They don't want everybody fighting amongst each other all the time. They don't. And that's what we got to figure out. How do we do a better job of that? How do I do a better job as a governor to lead with that example? It's one of the reasons I do walk around the hallway. It's why I am going seeing reps and senators, to make sure I build those relationships and figure out how we move the state of Missouri forward. So I think that's one of the things that, that's just a few of the things. I know you guys have got questions, and I guess I will take a few questions, as if I had a choice on that. But it's just important for me to lead and do the right thing in the state of Missouri. It really is. And I have an opportunity to do that. I have a short window of time to do it, and I want to do the best I can. But I think what I feel like and what I think the people of Missouri want is what I want to try to do. All right, the other thing, I was going to make fun of my buddy Dave Berry here, but he lives back where I do, and he's back there more than I am, so he can do me more harm back home. So I decided to do him a pass on that. I'm going to tell you a hog story about him sometimes. That's a lengthy story to tell. It's a very interesting story. When he was a young reporter, I was a young sheriff back then. That's the only one. Well, it was kind of that, for sure. All right, so does anybody have any questions?
Governor, have you been briefed?
Governor
It's
Parson.
not a press conference. I'm going to try to take you all.
Governor Parson, earlier this morning, the Senate Committee on Small Business and Industry heard a bill from Senator Hoskins, which would legalize sports wagering here in the state. What is your opinion on sports wagering?
I think it's coming, and I think it just depends what the legislators do. But, I think that's going to be the issue the state of Missouri's got to deal with. And I'm going to see what that package is, or whatever it is they come out with legislative for, make a decision whether I think that's good or not. But I think it's coming.
What level do you think that it should be taxed at? Like 6%?
Yeah, you know what, I really can't even go down that road yet, because I don't know what the legislators are going to do about that. I think you got to figure out how you're going to implement, and who's going to have oversight over it. I mean, there's a lot of things there on that you got a regulatory side of that. But some states have done that. They also have lots of problems on that. So I'm not sure what that percentage is. We're going to let that go through the process. We'll see.
Thank you.
Have you been briefed on the Better Together proposal, and what do you think of the statewide vote on that?
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing I think is important to note about that. When the mayor of St. Louis comes forward and says, we've got serious problems in St. Louis, one of the major urban areas in the state, which has a huge impact on the entire state of Missouri, I think, one, that should be noted that somebody reached out and said we've got problems. And I think for them to try to set together and try to figure out a merger, I think you should put everything on the table possible to try to figure out how you fix that. Now, how it ends up on a statewide vote or it don't, I'm not sure what the details of that's going to be yet. I think it's early to predict that. There's a lot of moving pieces of that. There's going to be a lot of attorneys involved in that, the language I see that's out there now. But I'm not sure what the final result is. But I think it's the right step by moving forward, putting everything you have on the table to see if you can find a better way to do it. Because I think we know one thing, it seems like the way it has been, it's definitely got some problems. So I think when the mayor of, like I said, St. Louis comes forward and says we've got a problem, and the county's willing to sit down at the same table, I think that's an important day. So I think let the process work.
So just to clarify, do you think merging is the right step?
I don't know what that merger is. I'm more open to see what they've got and see how they're going to proceed with a statewide vote, how they do that. But we'll be watching that very closely to see. But I think it's the right thing to do right now is to have those people come to the table and figure out if there's a solution to it.
Governor Parson, would you sign a bill into law banning abortion 6 weeks after conception, which is when a heart rate can be detected?
Yeah, well, I don't know what the legislation is. You're kind of referring to some of the other states in the news here lately. I've been pro-life my entire career, and I support that all the time. So I'm going to stay with that issue just where I've been. I'm pretty well on record on all of that. Whether it's the dates or not. I'm going to be supportive pro-life. But I'm not going to say that because I don't know what that language is. That's why I'm always hesitant to say, if you ask me, am I going to sign something? Sure as well I tell you that today, and like last year, something gets put into it or something, all of a sudden, I don't. You're going to be saying, oh, you said you did.
So you support banning abortion after 6 weeks from conception?
I support pro-life, is what I support.
Governor, I guess I was There have been a lot of Republican state senators who have complained that there are not enough bridges in their districts that are on that STIP list. How willing are you to either add more bridges to that bonding list or maybe switch up that bonding list?
Well, and it is already divided into what each group in the state gets. For example, in the $350 million that you would be adding on to the bottom of that, right? The St. Louis region would get about $120 million from that. The Kansas City region would get about $80 million from that. So close to $200 million to $350 goes to those two areas. The rest of it would be throughout the rest of the state. So there's a formula in place that tells you what those percentages are. All I did was take out probably some of the smaller projects that you can't get any federal money to help with. So if you had something on that 5-year project list, your projects now move up, which are bigger projects more than likely. So their projects move up. The other thing is, you almost have to go back and look and see what happened last year and the year before, and where did that funding go. The point of it is what I'm saying, I only did bridges. So the deal is they don't have any bridges, less than $8 million that need to be repaired. Because they're not, or at least they're not on the STIP plan. And again, the STIP plan is put on by the local planning crews. And so that's why I did what I did.
Governor, in about 16 days, we could be looking at another federal government shutdown. Of course, during the last one, a lot of state agencies here and throughout the country were stepping up to fill the gaps. What are the state's contingency plans if we got another shutdown?
Well, we're going to do our job as a state to start off with. The federal government, I hope they don't push for another shutdown. I hope people go to the table and figure out a solution. You know, one thing about the President of the United States, whether you like or dislike, the guy who run on that very issue, he run on that very issue all across the country, whether, like I said, we like it or not, whoever your party favorite is. But he run on that thing, and he's trying to do that. The majority of the people in Washington, D.C. have supported that in some fashion, some way. And for us to come to a total deal where we said, now all of a sudden, there's no middle ground, it's like we don't, I know they sat down yesterday and started negotiating, but it should have been done. And we've got to figure out a solution to that. But the state's going to do their part to make sure we take care of the people in Missouri best I can.
Governor, I wanted to return to the infrastructure package. The amount of money it's going to take to pay the bonds could also be covered by a very small increase in the state gas tax. It's small enough that you could sign it into law and you wouldn't have to tap general revenue to repay. You could probably even do a larger bond issue on 2 cents of gas than you could for $30 million a year general revenue. Did you consider asking for a small tax to finance it, and why did you reject it?
Right. Well, you know, one, we just had people voted on that, whether it was small, big, they voted no for it. The sales tax, all that, they voted no for it. You know, but I think the legislators are going to go in there and vote for a tax increase of any kind right now. I don't know if that's really practical to think that way. Again, I went back to what could I put on the board that I thought I could get done and that we thought we could get through the legislature. And really, that you could do something for infrastructure for the state of Missouri. And I said forward, this is a band-aid effect. I mean, this is not fixing the problem. All of those things you're still talking about, we still got to find a solution. I mean, and we as legislators, me as the governor, we got to figure out a bigger package someday to figure out how we're going to meet the demands of infrastructure in this state. So we still got those problems out there.
Do you think that the gas tax might have failed because there wasn't a good enough explanation of how the tax was going to be divided? Because I had people coming up and saying, oh, that's going on highway patrol. Yeah. And they thought that, and I couldn't explain it.
You know, we heard that, and you know, I mean, I think that's always the thing you have to evaluate once you get something done. Was that really the effect, or do people just want to say no? I mean, for the most part, Missouri's not very willing to increase taxes in this state. That's just the way it is. And it's just somewhat of a conservative state about that issue. But, you know, the thing I want to stress with that, whether the language was right or wrong, you know, everybody has to decide that. The bottom line is the problem still exists. We got to find a solution. I mean, you know, that election's over with. Carol?
I liked what you said in your opening remarks, that it's our job as press to bring information to our readers, to the people. That's what we're supposed to do. I believe that includes bringing legal notices, foreclosures, public notices to our readers. Yesterday came under attack somewhat, and so, you know, there are bills that we are very concerned about. Where do you fall on that?
I have some of my friends that are for that, and I have some of my friends that are against that, and I support my friends. That's what you call a spin, Carol. All right, we'll write that down. Let me answer this. I've always been supportive of the public roasts in the state of Missouri. And here's why I say that. Now, technology is changing that. You all let that down here. That's changing. So I think what would be another solution, Carol, is I think if the media themselves would come together and see if there is maybe a better route to do that, how we might be able to have savings to do that with technology. But the bottom line is this: there are so many communities in the state of Missouri that we take for granted, a lot of us do, of the internet service and the broadband. But when you go to little towns where I'm from, whether it's a Fairplay, Missouri, or it's a Humansville, Missouri, they don't have the opportunities that we have in some there. There's no library there. When somebody says, hey, we just go out to the library and do that, well, go to halfway Missouri and find a library and see how that works out for you. But I mean, there's just lots of places, and lots of people read that. It's still, people read that all the time. But I'm not telling you nothing you just don't know. But that business arena is changing too. So I think when you look at that, I'll even bring up sunshine requests before you guys do. But I think it's those kind of things that I would love to be able to sit down with the Press Association and some of my people to sit down and say, hey, is there a way to do this better, that we can figure out a way to do it? Instead of just always somebody out there trying to, if you do the legislative route, or on your side and say, hey, I'm not budgeting, this is just the way it is. Because I'm a guy that always feels like you get the right people in the room, you can sometimes come up with solutions. On the sunshine request, let me just make a comment about that. We've busted our tail ends to try to be as transparent as we could to get all the information out there that we can for the people at request. Matter of fact, we have now hired a full-time attorney to do nothing but sunshine requests in the governor's office. I mean, that's all they do every day, is to do that. And this is a layman talking. But I'm saying some of the sunshine requests that you get are so blanketed about, it's just a tremendous workload for the taxpayers. And I get making sure you have that ability. It would be great somehow if we could sit down someday and say, okay, if you're just looking for everything, that's one thing, but if you are looking for something in particular, or you're trying to say, hey, I think there's a problem here, then we want to give you that information. We truly do. I want to do that. But man, sometimes you get stuff in there that's just pages after pages. And matter of fact, I even discussed one time giving you guys a terminal. I said, hey, if you want to look, go look. What you guys do. But it's burdensome sometimes. I just wish there's a way we could all sit down and figure out, is there a better way to do this? Is there changes before we start making radical changes either way? So that's my sunshine.
Do you think that the Clean Missouri Constitutional Amendment should be changed by legislators? Or do you think there's any particular provisions in that should be changed?
That's a loaded question.
That's from Bill Senior.
Okay, all right. So from Bill Senior. Okay, I want to answer from Bill on that. Well, first of all, the will of people voted for that. So I think if you're going to change it, if you're going to make changes, you got to go back to the will of the voters to make the changes. Do I have concerns with it? Yes, I do. I have concerns with the redistricting portion of it. And I don't think it had anything to do with the money side of it, because I don't think there was hardly any changes to that myself personally. I don't, but I think that was part of the sales pitch. But I think we all know in this room that the bottom line to that was the redistricting portion of it is what we were trying to change. Do I have concerns about that? Yes, I do. But the only way you can change it is, it has to go back to other people to change that or do what, or changes be made, which I would make the case on the initiative petition process. I think sometimes it may be time to make changes to that.
Governor, back to the crime and DOC issues. You talked about it's more than just shutting down a couple prisons. You got a lot of other things to talk about. Chief Justice yesterday talked about bonding and doing things. Do you think that dovetails with what you're talking about?
Yeah, I do. I think when you think of bonding sometimes, and again, this has been law enforcement over 20 years. Bonding is to make sure that the person appears. That's kind of what a bond does. It's not meant for a punishment, or it's not meant for put a hardship on anybody. This question is a guy going to show up? And that's what the appearance is. So I think it's good to have a question. I think a lot of judges, a lot of areas could probably make that decision because they probably know some of the people. So I don't have a problem with looking at the bonding schedule, but I think when you do that, you do the justice reform that we're doing, plus that comes back to your corrections. And we can see a decline in that. So that's the good news, because Missouri's got a high number of people incarcerated. So, in the back.
Governor, going back to the workforce creation and taking those workers for tomorrow. What message do you want to give to public school districts as far as helping them with CAPS and other career paths that maybe kids are not looking at right now?
Yeah. I think that's a great question, and I think that's exactly what we're trying to do at Workforce Development. How do you educate the school systems within the school system? And let me give you an example of that. If you are a school counselor, you know, maybe that school counselor should know what it's like to be on a factory floor. Maybe they should know what the profession is they're going to be referring students to. Maybe they ought to really know in STEM education and science, technology, engineering, math. What are those things out there for that kid to do? So I'm not for sure. That's why I think there should be a piece for the private sector to have put in the education institution down. And I think they're very favorable to that. I think if you talk to superintendents across the state, you talk to the community colleges, higher ed, I think they all realize that, hey, we've got to have more input from the private sector. But for that young 7th and 8th grader or that kid going to start in high school, he should start knowing what are those opportunities out there for him. But I think counselors and teachers should also know that, to experience that. Because, you know, the reality is, a lot of teachers probably has never been, you know, other than the arena they're in, have not been outside that arena. And I think it's important to have an idea of what that future is out there. Because I've said this as I go around the state, but 65–70% of people in the state don't have degrees. That's a huge pool of your workforce. But to give them the skill sets they need to move up, that's where trade schools come in, community colleges come in. And hopefully by doing that, maybe they go on to get that complete degree. That's who we got to be targeting, and that's why we got to make sure the kid just can't get a high school diploma anymore. He's probably going to need some post-secondary education. We know that because that's on the incline. If you just got a high school degree, that's on the decline, and that's like 4 or 5. I think it's 5 million decline over the United States if you just got a high school.
There are proposals to make the governor and lieutenant governor run for office as a team instead of separately as we always have. You're one of the people who ran with, but not as a team, with the former governor. Your thoughts on whether that's a good idea or not?
Yeah, I'm not sold on the idea. I'm not sure it's a good idea, but I mean, we'll see how that works out too. And the reason I say that, you know, one of the things I always think, I want to always make sure that, and I guess because I come from that, I want to make sure the average guy's got a shot at running for office. But I think when you start putting a slate together, I think money can get involved in that real quick, and all of a sudden it's a matter of who's the 2 top fundraisers, and you'd have to focus on things like that. I think you have to look at that. I'm not saying that don't happen, but sometimes it's not such a bad deal in 2 parties, 2 positions. You know, so I don't know that it's broke at this point, so I'm not sure why we want to do that.
Governor, you have major jurisdictions in the state where the prosecutors have said that they will no longer prosecute marijuana possession. We're going to have medical marijuana. Would you sign a bill to legalize recreational marijuana, or would you consider taking some action to eliminate the criminal records of people who have had marijuana possession convictions in the past?
Yeah, I think we've got to look at that issue. Let me start off with, because if you got people that would happen to be in jail or in prison for something that was illegal 2 months ago and somebody today it's not, I think you got to look at that. I mean, that's a discussion to have. Do I think a prosecutor, look, prosecutor, judge, governor, sheriff, you raise your hand, you take an oath to uphold the law and the Constitution. If it's against the law, I don't think any prosecutor should be able to just say, I'm not going to enforce the law because I don't like the law. I think that's a dangerous precedent to set for any of us as elected officials and take an oath to do just that. And I know that they have discretion. I know that. But just come out and say, I know we're talking about marijuana, but I'm talking about anything to do that. And I think that's where that's happened before, where somebody says, hey, I'm not going to file charges. I mean, I just think if there's a crime committed and there's a victim, prosecutors, judges, elected officials should be able to respond to that.
Did you say that you would want to consider legalizing recreational marijuana?
No, I did not say that.
I just want to make sure what you were responding to.
Give me that notebook. Let me write that down.
The way you responded.
Hey, let's deal with medical marijuana. How's that? I'm not answering more questions. I'll do medical marijuana. I think it's important. We got to get that kind of lined out and how that's going to work. You know, well, we can go about that. I'm gonna quit one minute. In the back.
Governor, when your Department of Corrections director visited Bowling Green, she generated a lot of excitement when she said that her #1 legislative priority this session was to increase the pay of the Department of Corrections employees. And she said that when she met with you that you were in support of that initiative, and so I just wanted to see what the status was on those pay raises.
Yeah, that's correct. Not only corrections, now corrections has got a separate plan out there for the state of Missouri. You know, you got correction officers, young men, young women that are going in the correction officer business, and you're talking about paying them mid-20s, you know, and it's just a problem. It's just a problem. It's way. Not only that, there's a lady I do know in the system that's probably been with the system for over 20 years, I'll just say that, it's making less than $30,000 in corrections. I mean, I think you got to be real careful to make sure you get qualified people, that you can train people up to make sure they can handle that situation. So I think the pay raise is long overdue. I think there also needs to be a portion of that, which there is. If you've been employed at the state for 5, 10 years, 15 years, you got to do something to help those people that's been with you longevity. You can't, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have the person coming in that's been here, just gets hired, and the person been here 15 years, you're almost making the same salary. I mean, that's just tough. And for the state as a whole, you know, every once in a while, unfortunately, they got to go through the legislative process, and go through the budget appropriations process, and every once in a while we'll go a $700 raise, or we'll get a raise here. But I think there's a lot of uncertainty to that. So what I would really like to do is have some sort of plan in place with cabinet members and kind of do work through this to make sure there is some longevity for state workers that could look up and say, okay, I now feel like something's going to happen next year, whether it's a simple code or whatever it might be. But I think that's an issue that's been long overdue. I put it in the budget for state employees across the board plus correction officers, but the reality is that we can't keep correction officers, so we simply don't pay, we don't compete. You know, if you, and one of the things I think was Greene County Sheriff's Office, I know some of you guys from Springfield, I think they start somebody out now maybe around 40,000 or high 30s or something. Or we're maybe starting somebody out 20 something. You know, I mean, those guys are going to go, guys and girls are going to go somewhere for a job, or doing corrections. So.
Now that you've been in office 8 months, what's the hardest part about this job?
Good, I like that question. Teresa might be able to answer that. You know, I think the hardest thing being a governor for me in the 8 months is the demand on the position. It is just extremely difficult. Every day the demand in that office is, if you go in there every day and you work like I have for the first 8 months, the demand of different things that come across your desk are just unreal. It is, and if you're trying to do everything and trying to rebuild things. And I think it's tough on your family. It really is. I mean, you know, I'm at the point where I got grandkids, kids, and still got a farm back home. But there is a sacrifice you make for that, and that's one thing, you know, that's not telling you guys, but you know, you get a grandkids at a homecoming, you know, you maybe like to go to that homecoming, but all of a sudden you get a way out, or you're a public servant, and how you balance that. So I think that's been tough for me. It's been tough for both of us to do that. But hey, we're dealing with it. The job at hand is to be the governor of the state of Missouri, however long that lasts. That's what I want to do.
Have you gotten any advice from your predecessors about how to do this job?
No, not really. Not really. Most of them just said, "What are you thinking?" No. Let me say this, Bob. So, for support for all of you to know this in this room too. Every governor, for the most part, and their families have reached out to us and wished us well. And Democrat, Republicans alike have wished us well, not because of anything other than the love of the state that they all had. And like I said, whether you disagree with them on policies on everything or not, most of them were there for the right reasons. They were trying to serve the people of Missouri. But all of those have reached out. And when you asked me if we've had any big advice, you know, one time I was in here for dinner here a while back, and it was really just kind of, it was a fun time. We just sitting around talking about things. And I think as governor of the state of Missouri, all of you sitting in this room today, many of you, some of you got gray hair like that, some of you are young as you can be and starting out, some of you in the middle there. But every day I get up and I come down here and come through here and I think of, man, what are the conversations that have taken place in here over the years since 1871? The things that changes have been made for this state. And the goodness that's come out of it over the years, you realize why our state's so strong, that those governors over the years have tried to do to to move Missouri forward, no matter who they were. And you feel that when you come down here every day. And you also realize how humbling that is to know that hey, that burden's a little bit on my shoulder, and First Lady's to make sure that we keep that in mind as we go through that. So it's humbling every day, but I enjoy it. But I'm 63 years old, Bob. I'm hard-headed. It's hard to anybody tell me what to do. My grandkids do away with it.
Thank you, Chair. Remarks the Parson at town hall meetings that they will make a decision by February 21st. Just wondering where we are on that.
You know, I don't know. The one thing I know that we've got people in the office working on that, on the legal team and everything. You know, what we're going to check the liability out, how we're going to handle that for the state. So I know we're going to process that, but I don't know the details.
Do we think that there's going to be something in 21 days?
Oh, I don't know. You have to talk to somebody a lot more up the ladder in my office than me. In the back.
Governor, in House Bill number 230, or 230, it would close certain records within the Department of Corrections to the press. Some of those records and some of those documents have been used by the press to call attention to staffing shortages and other issues going on in the Department of Corrections and those facilities. If that legislation made it to your desk, would you sign it, or are you in support of it? What's your initiative?
You know, I'll go back to how I answer that. I don't know what that legislation is going to look like, so I'm really reluctant to say anything I sign without seeing the finished product. I mean, you know, and I'm not sure what all that details. I know you've got a number, you've looked at it, but when you said the number, I didn't have a clue what it was. You know, I didn't. But you know, it's those kind of things we'll look at as they come through.
Governor, we'll take one more question.
It's fine.
All right, how about 2 questions?
No,
I
really was passing it to her. She's a
Oh, you're there. Okay. All right. So we're going to answer any more questions after this?
She's talking to you.
All of him.
All right.
Back to your initial petition comment. What do you think exactly needs to change about the process? And then would you be in support of some of the bills that would be adding filing fees and signature fees, or even some of the joint resolutions that sort of change constitutionally?
I think it is a very worthwhile discussion to have to talk about that, especially when you start talking about the Constitution. I think that's something that maybe the bar, I don't know what that bar is, but it maybe should be higher when you're changing the Constitution of the state of Missouri. But I also think it's important to remember as we go through this process that that is people's right to do that. That's why it was set up in the Constitution to do that. But I also do have concerns of it today, as we all know, how they get on there, and sometimes how they're put on the ballots and how they're promoted, both good and bad. So I think when you go change the Constitution of the state of Missouri, I think that's something that we really would hurt to make the bar a little higher. But we'll see how that legislation comes out. All right, thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed it today. Appreciate that opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you.